morning, everybody. Morning agenda meeting. Today's April 4th, Thursday, 10 a.m. I'd like to get Mr. Darrell Fark to say the pledge, Mr. Terry Beard to say the prayer. Would everybody please stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in praying the Lord's Prayer. Our
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
All right, I guess we're going to be doing something new without Mr. Booyock being here and giving us all kind of static and talking to us.
As the work goes on,
Yeah.
on
We're going to jump right into it. We're going to go to number 3, Mr. Mark Abraham, candidate for the State Senate District 25. Is that a few words you'd like to share with us?
Thank y'all. I have 20 or 25 minutes. No. Look, I appreciate y'all even letting me come here and speak. I have been working Cameron pretty hard the last 3 months. I've been here many times. The session starts Monday. I've been in Baton Rouge for the last 3 days in appropriation meetings. So anyway, but I wanted to make sure I came here before I got caught up in Baton Rouge for the next 2 months. I am a state representative, okay, from South Calcasieu. I'm running for state senate, which is Blade Morris's position. He's term limited out. I serve on appropriations, I serve on insurance, I serve on retirement. And appropriations, as many of you know, that's the money committee. So every department of the state comes before our committee, has to justify why we give them money. And it's important that we make sure they're using the money wisely for you and for the citizens of Louisiana. We have to ask questions like, what's the return on investment on these dollars that we're going to give you? And the big thing that's been going on in Baton Rouge is that we have funded positions in different departments, funded, okay, but not filled. So what does that mean? That means they have the money in the department, but they're not using it. And so the departments have a lot of money there, and our job is to make sure that if they're not using it, we bring it back so we can put it to good use. So that's the kind of questions that we ask when the departments come in front of us. I've been in business for myself for 42 years. When I look at each department, I look at it through the lens of business. What is that return on investment? I'm just wired that way. And I do believe we need more business principles in the government. It's not always going to work that way, y'all know that. But we need to try to transition as much as we can. We didn't arrive in this situation overnight. We're not getting out of here overnight. It's a complicated process, more complicated than I even thought. One person can't go in there and say, man, I'm going to change the whole system. It doesn't quite work that way. You have to build coalitions, and you have to work together to get things done. So that's kind of what I do in Baton Rouge. My day job is I have a company called Big Easy Foods. We make gumbos and turduckens and stuffed chickens. We package that under the Big Easy Foods brand. And we sell those to grocery stores around the country. That's kind of what I do. If you go into a store at Brown's, for example, you might get a chicken and sausage gumbo frozen, and you go home and microwave it. That's the Big Easy brand, little commercial break there. That's what I make. We also have a couple of shrimp plants south of Houma in a place called Dulac. We process wild American shrimp, package that in the Big Easy Foods brand, and sell that to grocery stores. I mentioned the business again because we need that business approach in government, and I'm going to repeat myself many times. A lot of times we lose track of that in Baton Rouge. I'm going to kind of give you 4 things that I see going forward on where the state needs to be headed. Number 1 is our education system. We have to pay our teachers more to produce the results, or they're going somewhere else. We have to pay our professors in our universities more, or they're going somewhere else. We have to pay research professors to come to Louisiana to have innovative grants, or they're going to go somewhere else. That's just the way it is. I served on the Board of Regents for 6 years. I know how important education is. And if we don't invest, we're not going to get our return on investment. So that's the number one thing that I see in the state right now. Number two is infrastructure. I know that President Trump's probably going to have some sort of infrastructure plan come down where the state has to match federal dollars. If we do not match those federal dollars, we're going to be left out. So we have to invest in our roads. It's the heartbeat of business. Roads, airport, waterways. Y'all know all about waterways here. It's vitally important to the economic development of Louisiana. You're probably aware that we're trying something different, a little creative on the I-10 bridge in Lake Charles. We're trying to do a public-private partnership, which is a toll bridge. And that's the sort of creative thinking we need to do to jumpstart our infrastructure in the state of Louisiana, and I'm very much involved in that process. The third thing is we want to attract new business, but what are we doing for existing business? How are we easing the regulations on existing business? For example, I found this out the last 4 or 5 months, did not know that before, that the rice farmers are selling their rice in Mexico, okay? The Mexicans love Louisiana rice. They want that logo, they want that rice in their grocery stores. What are we doing as a state to make sure they're marketing their rice coast to coast in Mexico? We're not doing anything. So that's the sort of investment we need to make in existing business so that we make sure our rice is sold throughout Mexico. It's a win for the farmers, it's a win for Louisiana. We have a nursing shortage here, right? It's not because we don't have the facilities, because we're not paying the nurses who teach to teach the nurses. That's why you can make more money as a nurse than you can teaching. If we pay them a little bit more money, they teach more nurses, the hospitals hire more nurses, the state makes more income off nurse income. It's a win-win all the way around. So we need to concentrate on existing business here in the state of Louisiana. The last thing is we still need to watch our budget and cut waste, okay? You've probably read a lot recently about the Medicaid fraud, in a sense, that's going on, of thousands of people are receiving Medicaid when they don't deserve it. We've been working on a software computer program for 2 or 3 years. It's finally been implemented, and now these are the results. So we have to continue to find the waste and fraud in government. We're not going to stop. The Louisiana Department of Health is a big, big department. There's ways we can cut money. We still have to continue to do that. So those are the 4 things that I see moving forward. I'm here to say that I want to serve you. You don't serve me, I want to serve you. And that's just the way it is. I have the time, okay, to spend in Cameron. My family was the Abe's Grocery people in Lake Charles. Many of y'all probably remember those guys. So I'm right here in your backyard. And my pledge is that I will not let Cameron be forgotten. I know politicians come and say that all the time, but that's my promise. And if any of y'all know me, I don't back down on what I say. So that's my spiel, I guess, today. And I appreciate any help y'all can give me. And again, thank you for letting me speak today. Thanks.
Thank you, Secretary. Okay. We're gonna move on to number 4, Bocret and Incorporated Go Best Funding Shoreline Project presentation. Thank you, guys. I think our technical stuff is out. Give everybody a little packet of.
Yeah, we're having some technical issues this morning, so we have some packets, and with us today from Boca is Marco Gonzalez and Nicholas Gaspar with Fenster Maker, and didn't have the floor.
Well, good morning to all of y'all. Unfortunately, we've actually been working for y'all for well over 6 months now. This is the first time we've actually been able to come to the police jury. So my apologies for that, but my name is Marco Gonzalez. I'm with Volpert, and y'all brought us on late last summer, early last fall, to be program managers for your Go Mesa funded shoreline projects, the ones that you got Little Florida Beach, Long Beach, and Rutherford Beach that we're looking at right now with these funds. So in the process, we just kind of want to bring you up to speed as to what's been going on so far. When we came on, we looked at a couple different design teams and brought on Fenster Maker. Most of y'all are familiar with them already. They've done a lot of work down in this area. Nicholas is their project manager, who's kind of spearheading their efforts here and is going to probably do the bulk of the speaking today to kind of bring you up on the design side of where we're at right now. So we've been doing some permitting, we've done a lot of geotechnical work, surveying, and have started design work, and are hoping to go in for permitting, which he's gonna go through, and then we'll go through kind of a schedule of where we're at from here all the way through the end, what we're seeing towards the end of the project when construction and stuff is being done. So I'll let Nicholas go now, and then come back, tie a few things up, and then during the course of this, we're open to any questions you may have. Anything under the design schedule, whatever. Just, we want to make sure that y'all are kept informed as best as possible on this.
Thank you, Marco. Hi, I'm Nick Goswell with Finstamaker, and I know there's a lot of important stuff in here, and we'll just keep it informal. If y'all have questions, just please stop me, and I can go back and make sure y'all on the same page as us. So on the first page, you can see some of the preliminary data that we collected. This is a windrows chart from Calcasieu Pass. This is the wind intensity and direction that your shoreline is experiencing here in Cameron Parish. The long red tangent you can see coming at 143 degrees, that's your main wind direction. That's where the bulk of the shoreline erosion is coming from, the wind from that direction. If you flip to the next page, this is all of the geotech work that has gone on previously. Geotechnical work is the foundation for everything you're going to do on the shoreline. They go down and take a sample down to 0 to 40 feet and run that through a whole gamut of tests to let us know what you can actually put on the shoreline. For instance, just west of Holly Beach, those breakwaters, that's straight limestone. You have a good sandy bottom there, and they can just place limestone and it doesn't go anywhere. It's been there for 20 plus years. If y'all familiar with what's going on in Rockefeller right now, the ME18 project, they have a lot of clay. That sediment there compacts really quickly, and those breakwaters are built with a lightweight aggregate that's near neutrally buoyant, and it's just got a limestone coat on top of it. So the sediment that you have there currently influences a lot of the design decisions we're going to see later. So just wanted to show y'all the scale of the geotech work that we've done here. Next in line, something that's just been completed is a whole lot of surveying, both from the shoreline with the traditional survey crew and also hydrographic survey from a boat. These are all the transect lines that were run on Long and Little Florida beaches. And one example of those is on the next page. Here's a transect. So you can see in the red line, starting from the dune, survey crew tied in elevations all the way down into the water. From a boat, you have the hydrographic survey in blue. And there's a hole there where the breakwaters are at. We didn't... We just need to know where the existing breakwaters were. The elevation of those really wasn't relevant for our design because we know they're 650 to 850 feet offshore and they're not really doing their job.
Are they under the water?
No, they are not, but they're very near underwater. I would say at a +1 elevation, on a high tide, you can barely see the tops of them. I have a couple slides later on in the back that will show you they're working, but they're not working for the shoreline, so to speak. On the next page, all of those transect lines that were run, we reduced that down into some contour lines. This is Long Beach, and you can see it's just a general sloping all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. Exactly what we expected, just needed a baseline of where to put these breakwaters at a later time. Next page is Little Florida, and this is where you can see that the existing breakwaters, they're 700 feet offshore, and you can see the contour lines. If you start on the left side of the page, you see the contour line that dips all the way back down to the breakwater. That's the 5-foot contour. So these breakwaters are actually working, but they're working from the 3-foot contour to the 6-foot contour. They're building land behind them, but it doesn't help the shoreline. So they're not working for y'all. One thing I wanted to point out, if you remember back on the second page, that windrows chart where your predominant wind's coming from 143 degrees, you can see between each one of these breakwaters, the cut into the land is pointed exactly at 143 degrees. Every one of those contour lines are pointing back at that direction.
Does that have anything to do with tide?
Yes and no. So
Because I was always told that everything moves from east to west.
that's more the Coriolis effect of just having the earth spinning and it's pulling everything with the Gulf current moving east to west. So the wind and the waves chew on the coast, but the sediment movement is from east to west. So it gets knocked off of the shoreline from the winds and the waves, and then it gets transported to the west. If you've ever looked at Google Earth, I find this fascinating, but the Sabine jetty, just on the east side of that, they're building land there. So all the sand that y'all put in Holly Beach, that all got chewed off the shoreline and is building land 50 miles to the west of y'all.
You might want to build them.
And that's one bad thing about the jetty. So with the east to west movement, the east side gets built, but on the west side gets starved of sediment. So I just have more contours of Little Florida Beach here with those existing breakwaters. Let's move on to Rutherford Beach.
Before we move on,
Yeah, sure.
Along Little Florida, Rutherford, we're a little farther along on design, so we're gonna go a little deeper in that, but along Little Florida, I want to glance over to, I'll have some other questions. This is more the preliminary stuff that they're doing right now in preparation for design, so just want to make sure nobody has some questions.
Okay, one question.
Yes, sir.
Every time we do a project, we push it to the west. Is there any future consideration given to the erosion that's going to be caused on the western side once we implement anything we do on the east side?
Me?
If you look at Long Beach, for example, last time they extended the rocks all the way to Little Florida, that's when Long Beach started to erode. And you look at it now, it's eroded quite severely. We're gonna go up to Long Beach now, we're just gonna push it to the west. So I would like for you guys to consider, going forward, how to handle that. No matter what you do, you're gonna look at Rutherford Beach, when you do Rutherford Beach, when you put them, you're gonna see increased erosion to the west side.
We'll have to take a look at that design, but I know that what we've got right now is, when we started this off, and I understand Ryan's not in this position, but when Ryan started us off on all this, you know, we had a set amount of money on it, and he put 3 priorities, these 3 beaches. I think Rutherford was actually listed as number 1 priority, and then he had 1, 2, 3, just to have it so the new design wise where applicable.
I mean, those priorities were set by us, the police jury as a discussion, those priorities. And it was a limited amount of money, and that's what we worked that budget, that $12 million into what we could do. Now, what you're talking about is future considerations or whatever, as far as, if it's about design, then they can handle that, but if it's more work that we need to do, then that's gonna be, we got the,
And I guess
you know,
it comes up a little bit.
future
in
plan.
design, too, because everything we've done has been similar to what's been done before. There's been talk about T-jetties, there's been talk about all different types of things, but we incorporated none of those. So is this the design gonna be similar to what we had?
For Long and Little Florida or
For
Rutherford?
all of the beach. I mean, we've seen the issue where it does support, where it does help. We've also seen where it hurts. Are we looking at anything different?
I don't think there's any way around that. If you armor one section of a beach, it's gonna starve another section. So I think long-term, you wanna armor the whole coast.
And I think with the Rockefeller project and then this is a continual, you just have to keep on finding the funding to do more protection, but we're doing a lot now. When you combine what we're doing at Rockefeller and plus this, you know, we just need to keep on going in that direction to do more as funding becomes available and we can compete for whatever funds are there.
Is that understood by the powers that be? I mean, does everybody understand that? I mean,
On our end, exactly what Daryl said is how we were explained to it, and that's why the priorities came in with the 3 beaches that we've got, and they've already got the priorities.
Priorities aren't the issue, I mean, I don't have a problem with priorities, I'm just worried about the whole code. As we fix one, if we cause problems with another, the people that are in the Restore Code of Louisiana powers, are they aware of this, do they understand what's happening? I mean, or they just look at it as one little project, one little project?
That's one thing I think Brian really helped in this time here. We really changed the discussion. It goes back when Mr. Park was talking about rocket, you know, and all that. That's what shoreline protection became a part of the master plan for, you know, coastal Louisiana, and we're trying to, with the funding we've got available, to continue that effort. We're using our local CDBG funds, our Restore Act money, and now this Mesa funding, and we're doing that. You know,
How much money is in this project?
Mesa, it's a $12 million bondage.
It's just shy, like 11.9, 11.975.
I rounded up, so, you know.
Well, that, one last thing, I don't drag this on too long, you're gonna include how far past the rocks when you do your after study? You come in and see, okay, what you did, how did it affect, how far west are you gonna include it in that study?
Yes, sir. From a strict ecological standpoint, yes, it's well known, the starvation of sediment on the west side of structures.
Okay.
Any other questions on Little Florida or Long Beach?
As we get further in the presentation, you'll see what's in Rutherford, but just Long and Little Florida, with it having existing structures, we're at the point of, do we want something right or do we want something right now? So we're taking the approach of we want to get it right, so we're thinking long and hard about what we're going to design here before we lay out a preliminary design to y'all. Rutherford. The next page is the survey transects that will run, and much of the same that you'd expect from a non-armored beach. You have the transect number 8 here, and I want to point out the RTK data. That's a survey crew with traditional range poles. You can see the sandbar at about 300 feet.
You jumped over to
Transects. I'm on the transect here. I'm going to talk a little bit about that sandbar here whenever I talk about design. So I just wanted to point that out that anybody that's been on the beach, you know you can go out a certain distance, it'll get deeper, and then it'll shoal back up again. Flip one more page. This will bring you to the contour map of Rutherford Beach. Kind of hard to discern what footage is what, but traditional beach without any armoring on it. So some of the design criteria that we were looking at here, on that transect that you saw earlier, the waves will typically crash at about the 3.5-foot contour. That breaks all of the wave energy, and it'll drop its sediment. That's what's creating that sandbar here. So the breakwaters that are designed for Rutherford are put at the 3.5-foot contour. That way the wave breaks against that, and we keep that sandbar intact. It's a healthy sand source right behind the breakwaters that'll be put in. We also, well, let's flip to the next page here. There's 3 sets of 8 breakwaters for a total of 24 across Rutherford Beach. The big white area you see is a preliminary access channel. If we're gonna need barges to come in to install a rock or anything of that nature, we'll have to deepen out the channel. There was very limited dredging in the Rockefeller project, so it's probably not even gonna be necessary. It's just part of the preliminary plan if needed. The breakwaters, as designed, they have a wing on the west and the east end of each one of the breakwaters. This is to turn the breakwater to face that 142-degree wind and wave head on at a 90-degree angle. And we match the other side just to keep things in symmetry. There's a lot of work that went into how wide the breakwater is, how far it is away from the shore, and all those ratios play a part so we can maximize the land gain behind the breakwaters on the shoreline. Next page gives a little bit more detail of showing you how those breakwaters are gonna look on the coast.
That, you want preliminary or you want to go on that?
Yeah, I have 3 marked preliminary on the back end. And-
Sorry, the one he was talking about first is the one that's an overall view with preliminary. Now he's gonna go into the more detailed one right after that.
And I think I just, I laid out everything that I wanted to say here. Add the 3.5 foot contour, 2 wings on each side. They're about 150 feet from the shoreline, with 150 foot in length and 100 foot gap between them. And last page will lay out exactly all of those specs I just listed. And if the big red words at the top weren't clear enough, this is a preliminary design. We're here for comments. If y'all wanna weigh in on anything that we've designed or laid out here, we're an open book, because y'all live here and see it every day, and we don't.
Okay, what are you gonna put on the rocks, if it's 150 foot, 150 foot?
Currently, nothing in the design to put between them.
It ain't gonna work. You can see, it don't work right here in John Holly Beach. They pump sand on it, and they let the gap open, and wherever the gap is, the water's to the road, and where the rocks are, the sand's to the road. So I mean, common sense, look at Gratiot Inn. They're getting where there's no block, or no wind, the southeast wind, which is your predominant wind you're talking about, can't hit the beach. And that's what erodes the beach, southeast wind. If you leave a gap open, it's gonna still hit the beach. So we need where, they were telling me they were gonna put some kind of sand buster. I didn't even know how that was. But, I'll call it just a rock. We just need, I know it costs $4.5 million a mile, but, with the big gap, you ain't doing nothing. Because perfect, you can see right there at Holly Beach, the road.
How far out are the ones at Holly Beach compared to what your design did?
That's
Same thing.
it's the same thing.
It's
as
really
Little
the
Florida.
same, so you cut it off.
No, these are much closer to the shoreline than the ones on Holly
You
Beach.
still got
But,
that southeast wind coming,
so,
you gotta break away.
let me ask you something. Would you prefer the design that's going on in Rockefeller where it's a straight rock with minimal gaps? I think it's like 80 feet every 1,000. So it's 1,000 foot of rock with the 80 foot gap, and the wind direction can't get in there.
Yes,
Yes?
yes, because that's the only way you can protect the beach.
What about the open apple? Does that anything would help, instead of leaving the gap, put one in overlapping where the water, has to kind of come around.
That's kind of how they build in Rockefeller, so. I don't know if it's kind of hard to see, but they build it straight and then shoot out at a 45 this way, and then start behind it.
Going back across?
Right, so
Yeah.
looking at the shoreline, it looks continuous, but,
It gives you the
There's-
gap in there, so you can have the.
It's giving it time to do the settlement behind it.
You stop at the southeast wind, what you're doing.
that's correct.
Yeah, that's what all.
And the gap, so to speak, is looking southeast
Right.
instead of southwest.
Yeah, it's just, like I say, 90% of the way we're in the south, the east, southeast winds. And that's what we want to block. We gotta block that from hitting the beach.
Where you have rocks already, like at Long Beach and Little Florida, wouldn't it pay to come within those rocks that exist out there, and in them gaps, put rocks there?
So, I would,
So basically, you got rocks and rocks, and you got a gap. The new project, you come in and put rocks inside, kind of.
so I was going through this with our engineer yesterday. So there's 2 options for Little Florida that's weighing heavily right now. Do we take the ones that are 700 feet offshore and make a continuous line there? Or do we stagger and put them at the 3.5 foot contour, in, out, in, out, in, out? The problem with building a continuous a continuous rock at 700 feet away from the shoreline is that you got 6-7 feet of water, so it's gonna take an enormous amount of rock to build that base just so we can get out of the water.
Where you got the rocks already,
Yeah,
wouldn't it pay to come within that from, like, from the rocks you got and come within that to the bank halfway or some kind of way?
So if you're 700 feet out, put them in about 350 or so.
Right, and put rocks that would cover that gap.
that's option 2. Yes, sir.
I always thought about that, because you know, Holly Beach, when they put them rocks, we used to get, before they had them rocks, that road would get beat up. Every little tropical storm, the state was out there trying to repair that road. But when they put them rocks out there, it stopped that erosion. In other words, that set of road, them rocks, and that road was, in other words, it stopped the encroachment of the coast. Basically what it did. And I always thought about what, you know, if they would, because you could see that big zigzag of sand, you know, in between the rocks. I've always thought about more, they could come back and put a set of rocks, not continuous, but inside.
Another
That
set
would-
staggered.
That would build that coast back.
That is
up.
very much in the design plan at the moment for those existing structures at Little Florida.
She went to Little Florida first because, people from Texas can't ride on the beach anymore, so they came to Little Florida and toured. You can see Little Florida from the highway, so that's why they went to Long Beach first. I think it's a must to get that fixed first, you know? And I
Your
get
priority is that road.
So I got them all there.
Yeah.
They're gonna be using man-sized rock, or they're gonna be using bigger than man-size. They're gonna point to a ton-sized rock at the bottom,
I don't think,
foundation, or they're gonna use that small rock over tunnel, man-size on the top.
no idea at this point. Still
That's still in design.
in design, yes.
Because you notice if the rock, if you notice the rocks that are in the Johnson Bayou area there, that's it's over man-sized rock, some of that. You notice there's some of that has moved, which is not a man-sized rock, so, I'm just making a point.
Go bigger.
We've tried several designs down east in the New Orleans area. And we tried the small rock, we tried the big rock, we tried baskets, we tried man-sized rocks. That man-sized rock on a bed, down at the bed base, seemed like it held there as it come up man-sized when it broke the water. Then it started coming to a little bit smaller. You can still say it's man-sized, but it's not, it's probably a, 800-pound rock, but I mean, it's a good sized rock. But your base was what it took, but in that New Orleans area down there, down in them bayous, because there's no bottom.
Yeah.
Because when a wave actually hits that, it washes it, boom, it's gone. There's no land behind it. Here we come up a different segment, you're gonna get some land behind it, but just look at the man-sized rocks coming from the bottom up, because that's what's gonna build your base here to stay, because it's gonna be a good undercurrent in that area. I mean, I'm just.
You have much more, a high energy environment than New Orleans is, so,
Yes, well, way better over here.
yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying that the base of the bottom is your very strong point of everything that's gonna hold this in the sand bottom. I mean, we've seen that along the coast. I mean, I've done it for about 10 years, so we've seen different kind of designs that works and some of it don't work, even with rock it don't work. But I've seen it where it works better with the bigger stuff than it does the smaller stuff. That small stuff won't balance. Just look at it real good.
But before, we get it's 4.5 miles a mile. Now, Rockefeller is 6 point something miles. The way they do it. So, I won't cut my rock in half, but I mean, I want where it's gonna, I don't want to put rock out there, it's not gonna do something. I just don't want the southeast wave hitting. I got one, thing left on Rutherford Beach. If that goes, that's it. Always the highway, always the Creo, across the road, it's total, it could be a disaster if that last one goes.
So I'll give you how we're coming from a design standpoint. We want to design and permit something that's top notch to protect y'all. And we can scale it any way you want to build a mile here, a half a mile there, but we just want to have the permit in hand to do a very large project, because when we have money, we want to say you can go to work next week on it. So the design and the permit is gonna not be so nailed down to that price point.
That's good.
Very noted with a star. And last slide is just some of the upcoming,
Real quick on
Sure.
this, we had a meeting, February.
it was the beach board, but Long and Little Florida, but they call it something different. It's
Okay,
like,
well, we had a meeting with them back in February 11th, well, right around that time. It was very preliminary, it was more kind of, hey, let's listen in, kind of see some ideas, concerns, and things like that. I don't think it was a super heavy meeting or anything. And then this was kind of a secondary of a sort of kind of showing you some of the things where we're at with design right now. So nothing that you see in here is set in stone, for lack of a better classified. But, so what y'all are saying, we're noting down, and we will be looking into a new design as well. I don't want y'all to feel like there's Rutherford, we're done, we're putting rock in the So what we are trying to do is get to a certain stage with all the geotechnical and all the surveying and stuff, that we can go in and put in for permitting, because the permitting process is probably about a 6-month process. We would like to try to get bids out like towards the end of this year, beginning of next, so we can get the money expended per what your bond requirements are. So we will be coming back, obviously, and having this discussion with you.
Now, Ryan said they're gonna start, second month of next year.
With construction,
Yes.
that's what our schedule was leading towards. The way we derived that was it was 2 permitting processes. One of them was to get all the borings done. That permitting process went through, it actually went through a fairly good time. They've been doing the borings, that's what y'all saw in there with all the circles and one of the earlier maps on here, all the boring locations and stuff, so they can get all that work done. Now the second one is the second process that we're trying to get in. We can get in around May, give it 6 months. We'll probably get us to that schedule, and that's how we got into it. During the course of that while it's in permit, we still got design going on as well. We would like to try to get it bid out sometime, put bid packets out latter part of this year, beginning of next.
You have only so long that you have to spend that money out of the bond.
You gotta have 85% expended by a certain period in latter fall of 2020. So we do need to get to a certain point to go. I'm not saying that we need to get to the point and just say, this is what we're gonna do and not be smart about it. But that's kind of what's driving the schedule. So what Ryan was telling you is correct, everybody's on that.
But that's what I'm telling my people, so I don't.
Yeah, that's our schedule goal. Sorry.
last just upcoming schedule for the next couple of months. We should have a Long and Little Florida preliminary design, much like you saw for Rutherford in mid-May. Also, shortly afterwards, we submit permit applications. Just keep in mind that the permit submittal is a 30% design, so things can change. We just need to permit the footprint that we're gonna be impacting. And that's about a 6-month process. If we start that off in mid-May, we should have a permit by the end of the year. Geotechnical report should be coming in June. All the analyses that it takes months to run some of these things, and we should have a full report by June. Permit submittals June 1st, and by the end of the summer, we should have the final design nailed down, so y'all have something concrete that will be put into place beginning part of 2020.
When you preliminary one, look, how far off?
Right now, they're 150 feet.
And then what we'll plan on doing is probably not next month, it's still gonna be a little early to get the design and stuff. Probably maybe in June, police jury meeting, we'll try to come back and kind of update you where we're at. It may not be as lengthy as this, or maybe as lengthy as this. We'll see. Kind of keep you in the process of kind of, this is where our design is going, particularly along the Florida. You know, they're very much in the process of that. Am I saying this right, Rika? Right, okay, so we know she just came on board this week, so we're gonna start working with her and through her, so we'll be communicating some of that as well through her as we're moving into this. But that's probably what we'll shoot for, come back in June and kind of go through this again, bring you up to speed, let you see what it is, look for questions and comments, obviously, and then go on so that everybody comes in with this final draft in August, that's 2 months. And we're heading in the right direction.
Are y'all attending the coastal meeting? I would say no. Because they have 400 million, and if you're not on the cable, you're on the menu. That's what Mr. Ryan says. We can have somebody on the cable.
It's okay. Any more questions? Anything? Anything else?
No.
That's it?
Thank y'all.
Gentlemen, thank y'all very much.
All right, thank you. All right, let's move on to number 5, Darrell Williams, Cameron Ferry Bill Grant Proposal.
Yeah, must be fun to get there.
Maybe we have a politician in the room, he maybe can hear all this Perry stuff.
Last year, staff put together a, staff from Brian, a bill grant, application, with the Federal Department of Transportation. The application made it to a ranking of recommended, which is good. Has to get to a ranking of highly recommended before it gets accepted. Before it gets considered by the Secretary of the Department of Transportation. And that's where the projects get approved. So much money is allocated to each state. That was our first year applying for it, and the application's a $16 million application for a new ferry for Cameron. The application period has been established for this year. They are due June 15th. There's some work that needs to be done to improve the application, to resubmit it. And what we have is a group that have been talking to, Mr. Robert Mariner. He is a former employee of the Department of Transportation, and he is a consultant now. And they do these applications, and what they have told us is that the cost benefit analysis needs to be upgraded, and there's other aspects of the grant application that need to be improved, plus get in there to talk to the people that you need to talk to. So this is a proposal submitted by Mr. Robert Mariner, and that group is Trans Systems, to renew our bill grant application for Cameron Ferry. And so what I'm asking y'all to consider.
When does it have to be submitted?
June 15th is the application deadline.
Deadline?
Yes.
Okay.
So they have to come in and do a level of
And
work.
total cost 44.
Yes, sir. And no, and that's what this is gonna cost. I mean, it takes it, but it was a good, but that original was a good first step. It was a good application to reach the ranking that it did.
Yeah.
And it does not guarantee approval, but it's something basically you have to keep submitting until you can get it. And it's about getting that support from our delegation and all that, but you gotta have a good application as well.
So it's gonna cost us 15 million. Us,
No, sir,
we don't have more.
we're trying to get 16 million.
Oh, you're trying to get the whole project 16 million.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
So that costs you 44,000, right?
yeah.
So the firm is asking, this is their alley rates, this is everything that they
That-
like
that
to
they-
approve.
this is part of our budget to redo that.
That we're gonna give them the 15 million, but if we don't go through this process, because of the state of Louisiana over there, don't wanna do nothing on the other side, and we're trying to do something, maybe we'll get some funding from the state to go with this too, right?
And that's that was part of one of the, I'm gonna say, weakness for lack of a better term, in the original application, we need a local match in here, and that local match can come from the state through, DOTD, or if we had the money, I mean, so we need some skin in the game, that it helps our application.
Well, I don't have a problem doing this, I mean, it's a good shot.
Mr. Park, I mean, this is something, and this is competitive, it's every year, you gotta keep submitting, that's why the 2 projects that got selected last year,
Right.
like Interstate 12, some work and some other work, they've been going at it for a couple of years now, so it was like it was their turn, so, we need to keep doing this. We have the industrial activity going on in Cameron, we have some benefit, we have some We have some things that may help us get this through. But we need a good
We
application,
need to
so,
move this to the voting meeting?
Yes, sir. yes, sir.
Good with that?
Yeah.
Everybody good with that? You good with that?
Hey, Gerald, one question, LDOT, we get any support out of them?
Well, who's that?
We had a Department of Transportation.
That, I mean, part of this application to get this, you have to get support from your congressional delegation, DOTD,
I'm working
and,
on it right now.
and that
We're
is,
working on it.
now that we have, you'd like to him, but he's state representative, and Mr. Booyak is a representative Booyak right now, so he can get us in there to have those conversations with
Some
them.
avenues coming.
Yeah.
But all
Yeah, but we gotta get a good application going.
All that's working, everything with the state.
Yeah, stars are lining up, I mean, so, but this is a work, and these guys will help us get all those meetings and all those people in place.
Okay.
So these people can help us with the application.
Yeah.
Application, and then also part of it is to talk to who you need to talk to.
All right, everybody good with that? All right. Let's move to number 6, industrial tax exemption application for Commonwealth, LAB, project ID number 201800509 ITE.
Under the current industrial tax exemption program, as through executive order by the governor, the current industrial tax exemption is an 80% exemption, no longer 100%. Commonwealth is applying for industrial tax exemption under that point, so they have to pay, it's a 20% payment from first year of operation.
Get some money.
Yes, sir.
I see.
The school board has approved as the three parties have to approve it, that is the police jury, the school board, and the sheriff. The school board has taken action to approve it, the sheriff has taken action to approve it. Now we need to take action to approve it, or we need to take action on it.
Yeah.
And this is their application. All forms have been submitted, the assessor has submitted his numbers, and now it is for us to review their application. Like I said, the other parties have submitted their approvals to the Louisiana Economic Development and Board of Commerce and Industry.
That on the vote meeting?
That's on the voting meeting for us to approve and, or to take action.
Okay. Everybody good with that? All right, let's move to number 7, road overlay project.
DuPont, I would, if you could, just announce, if there's any public comment specifically on that, just to cover if there's on that industrial tax exemption for Commonwealth.
Okay.
If there's,
Any public comment about the tax exemption that's getting ready to take place, the 80/20?
none being, go
Do we
ahead.
do we have any information on the return on investment for that? It should be part of the application, no?
Is part of the application.
Do we have any information on that?
Yeah, we have the numbers that have been submitted and the application. They have to meet certain criteria they have to provide so many jobs and all that, and they have submitted that, and I can provide that for you.
All right. Let's move to number 7, the road overlay project review.
Good morning.
Emily?
Y'all should have a copy of what the quotes came out to be. This is just a budget quote type item. I don't know if you had time to go over and kind of look at it, if y'all have any questions on it.
That's what you sent us out the other day?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Each drawer was able to, each one of y'all picked the road for me to get a quote to overlay the road, and that's what I was tasked with, and that's what I have at this time.
Okay.
On, Swift Lake Camp Road, whole lot of patchwork, we're doing all that.
Yes, sir. At this time, the way he did the quote, he would not have enough time to have me a quote to submit to y'all for this meeting without him stepping on that road to give me a good quote. So he gave me the quote with the parish actually doing the patching. We can give him, if y'all would like to have him give us a quote for the patching, he just needs a little bit more time to be able to actually go to each road. He had some more projects going on.
You'd almost have to get an engineer to, or somebody to identify the patch. You can't, you wouldn't want to leave it up to the contractor, you would want to get an independent person actually have to do.
A lot.
You need us to approve this afternoon to move it forward, to let her go out and find an engineer to do what you just said.
Well, my thought was, we need to,
Or go out for an engineer.
basically, we need to come up as a jury and say, we need to identify the roads.
That's first.
I don't, it ain't far from, it's far, David said it's far from.
Well,
Well,
we're
anyway,
speaking over
the
here.
first thing we gotta do is identify her, list of roads
Okay.
to do. And then we got to, task, I would guess, task her to, build a priority, or build a map for the engineers to be able to bid on what we want done. In other words, you gotta tell the engineers, we're gonna want you to go out and survey these roads. We want you to, measure them. In other words, the engineer is gonna submit a bid package that we can bid out.
And we tell him we want to get.
Right.
Not what he tells us we
Right.
want. We
Right.
want to
We're gonna identify to the engineers, the parish is gonna scrape all the shoulders, clean the road off, they're gonna do all the patchwork, whatever. And then the contractor's gonna be responsible for coming in, overlay, put the tack coat, overlaying, and doing the completion of the shoulders once the overlay's put,
Okay.
and the drive.
So we'll just task her
And we would need to task her
to do this.
So, first of all, we gotta figure out the roads. I mean, you gotta
Last year, was it last year we had all of our roads in the parish prioritized by someone, or did we just?
That was for the state thing.
No, that was just for the state.
And that is,
State stuff.
yeah, that priority list was a by district priority.
Right, that's what I'm talking
In
about.
other words, that was based on, by district. It's not a
Right.
parish-wide,
Parish-wide deal.
it's not a parish-wide deal.
But did we hire somebody to do that?
No, sir, we do that every year.
We did that. So I guess,
I mean,
I guess,
we need to try to figure out, I mean, I'm just reading all these notes here and all these bids and just stuff just ain't adding up with it. I mean, all he wants to do is pour some asphalt over it and.
Well, she just
We're not something-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that's
Right.
all we asked him, that's all we asked him to go do.
Was just to get the quote to do
Yeah,
the
we just
overlay.
wanted to
We
budget.
picked the road and told her with
Now to get into it, we gotta move the project forward and tell her, now this is the task.
I understand all
Then you
that.
go with it, and
I
this
know
goes,
that,
this
Darryl.
goes.
I'm not, was going yesterday. I know that.
I didn't say that.
Well, you trying to explain it to me like I didn't know what I was talking about.
This goes away.
I am concerned about all these notes that the parish has got thrown at. I wanna make sure we get it engineered and go the right way with it like we're talking about right now.
Right, because when you go to bid on, without him looking and stuff, it makes it kind of hard on him to give me something.
Right.
Because exactly on the, like the quantities and stuff, it's hard for him, and he had something going on to be able to come to each road where he would be able to tell me, this is exactly how many quantities on this road. All we did was throw him a measurement.
Right, and that's where I thought we was headed from the beginning, but evidently not. We just identified roads and went and made a phone call.
Well, we
Just
identified
always
roads.
do that.
We identified roads to get a budget tight. All we asked her,
Budget though. I'm not thinking I'd go out there and do a patchwork, or if we do patchwork. This ain't a budget, this is just a very preliminary.
The reason why it was so quick is because y'all only gave me to the next police jury meeting.
Right.
So he couldn't get me a better
all we
quote.
wanted her to do was go out and see if you hire a contractor to come out and overlay these roads that she identified, this is basically what it would cost. Just to do that.
Just overlay.
To get a pre-bid estimate, that way you
So
can
that
make,
we
now you can make a decision based on this
Because
estimate.
the last project we done was, I think, in 2014, if I'm not mistaken, or 13, so you couldn't really pull from what we did a long time ago to even, try to get a
It changes
quote.
every month.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So,
Used to, back in the day when we were doing a lot of blacktop projects, we would do, after the first one, I used to provide to the jury, you could almost book a running foot. I got with the contractor and we got it down because when they bid these projects, they bid on quantity. You know, they wanna know how many tons of whatever material, that's how they did the project. But it was hard to get your head around for the jury to understand how many feet of road you can do with X amount of dollars. So we had come down with a formula that, and it always pretty close. But that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So now, the next best thing is to have somebody give us an estimate of what it costs just to overlay it, and then you gotta factor in what it's gonna cost you to do the patchwork. Some roads gonna need striping, and you gotta do, driveways and shoulder work after that.
And that's where I'm at with this. This is just a blank piece of paper, basically.
If you got a $2 million project, if you got a $2 million project, and your overlay is gonna cost you $1 million, you are gonna be within that.
Well, it's not gonna cost $1 million. Not by the time you do all the patchwork, you figure out, you gotta factor all that price into it.
I understand, but $1 million will, another $1 million will keep you within that $2 million.
Well, I hope so. We'll stay in the budget.
In other words, and that's basically all.
Because, and just to once,
Basically, engineer, that's it.
and once you establish that budget, Mr. Quinn, I mean, y'all, if it exceeds that budget, you'll have that, right?
Okay, so we, our next
So
task
just
is
to
to
let-
go out for an engineer to come in and identify what we need to get done on the roads and everything, give us tell him what we're looking for, not what he's looking for, what we wanna get done,
Correct.
all right?
And even though, and you can have that product, you can have this project bidded in multiple ways. You can have all the work done as one, have the contractor bid on doing everything.
Yeah.
And then the parish doing parts of it, there's another, and you can break it down, and they can bid it that way. And then you determine at the end which direction you're gonna go. Once it's bid, once it submits everything. Right, once somebody
So
comes
we're
in.
gonna go out and get an engineer, give him what we wanna get done, and go from there. Next meeting, you'll have whatever we need, and possibly next meeting, it might take longer, I don't know.
Before you do that,
Okay? Yes, sir.
y'all making up all the plans for the whole parish right there, for 3 of y'all. Okay, it's $2 million, yeah, 1, 2, 3. It's $3 million, $2 million, they said last time. That was the budget. All right, now, I'm looking at stuff here, all right, and I've talked to, and it stays still, all, yeah. I've talked to Johnson Fire, they would get 90,000. Branch, he's gonna get, for Branchinier, 104,000. Hackberry gets 77,000. I get 42,000, while y'all get $694,000 out of that $1 million. It's not, I don't think it's fair. Now, they got a book, but you gotta show me the book, because they would do all kinds of things, they do on the dam. And if it says it's illegal, I have no problem doing what y'all wanna do. But what I'd like to see is 8 shares. I can do more than $42,000 in my district. But I got 750 feet, all right? And then Hackberry's got, 800, 690 something. Grand Lake, next thing we know, it's got, 1,800 foot. 1,800 foot, then you got another one that's, a mile long, 5,000 foot, and you got another one in Big Lake that's, let's see, that's gonna cost 131,000, and then you got another one that's 940 foot long in Grand Lake, that's 42,000. You know, I just think it's not, I don't think it's fair to give the parish, if you're gonna do a fair split, and let the district do what they, say, this is the road I want, not just one road.
I did one road.
Yeah, you did a mile. Yeah, you did a mile.
That's the road.
Yeah.
We were told to go pick one road that he wanted to get done.
No, y'all suggested that. I was
And we
not told.
suggested that.
Yeah.
We
But
suggested
that's
go get your
before,
road
hey, I
paved.
thought it was gonna be
Okay.
half.
We're gonna
Half
suggest,
legal. I mean,
okay, we're gonna suggest to you, since you're kind of lowballing on your road, get you two
No,
roads.
no, I don't wanna do that. No.
Maybe you don't want no roads at
That's what y'all
all.
do everything perfect. That's not right. I wanna say, either we hold off and after the election and do it. I know y'all don't wanna do that. But,
Had nothing to do with an election.
it don't.
We ain't done a project in a fair. David, last time we did the project here, we done a $36 million project. We didn't look at districts, we didn't look at jurors. We come in here, we put our roads, we prioritized the roads, what we wanted done, go get it done. If you had $1 million, we did $1 million down here. If they did $6 million in Klondike, or wherever we did it at, that's what we did. We didn't worry about, oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get, we're not worried about
No, I'm not worried
that.
about
We're just trying to
I'm
get
just
everybody,
trying
just
to
be
say-
quiet over there, listen.
No.
We're trying to
You
get everybody
For what's in your
something
life.
to do.
What's in your life, you listen.
No, I know what I'm
No,
talking
I
about.
don't, you don't know what you're talking about. Look now, look. All right, I'm talking about, I'm
Just
talking.
hang on, hang
You
on.
want to jump in?
Hang on.
Never mind. Just
Hang on.
can't talk to you.
Yeah.
We trying to get some roads blacktop.
Right.
We're not, don't wanna argue about your district, my district. We went out to pick a road. Everybody picked a road that was bad in their district to get it blacktop. Real simple project we had to do here. You know, nobody looked at prices. I didn't go look. I looked at a road that was bad in my district and I said, this road needs to be done. And I think everybody else did the same thing. Okay, so it wasn't about getting money. I didn't even know how much money mine cost. I just said I want this road done.
Okay.
And same with everybody else. Okay, so it was, you know, you was lowballing, you picked a small road, okay. So we're willing to work with you, let you get two roads that back up to the same price we want. Same price as some of the long ones in Granite, or we got long roads, you got the short roads. So it's no big deal, we give you two. That brings you up to 40,000 each, bring you up to 90,000, close to where everybody else is at. Okay? I mean, that's what we need to do.
Well, I've talked to several of these people, and they say now, that thing that, Darryl has, and they're reading over it, if it says it's illegal, I'm fine with y'all, whatever y'all wanna do. But if it doesn't say it's illegal, I'd like to split it. And I've talked to 4 or 5 jurors, and they appreciate it too, but I don't know what happened in the last 3 days.
Listen, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just task our road and bridge superintendent to get an engineer to figure out what it's gonna cost us for the project. Get a cost, I'll bring it to us to the next meeting. Okay? And if we need to, let's move to the voting
It's
meeting.
not gonna be, it's probably,
Or the next 2 meetings, however long.
Yeah,
It's gonna take about probably 2 months.
But we need to ask her to do this.
David needs to determine if he's gonna add another road, so we're not gonna
That's right.
stop the whole show because,
Of a road.
right.
Okay.
And
Wanna
I'll
get
take
you
mine
another
off
road?
if you want me to.
I'm not gonna take, y'all said one road.
No,
Well, I didn't say a mile. We just say almost another mile, and the other one's almost another mile. You know? Have you asked Hackman anybody?
Were you willing to get another, he was told just like the rest of us.
He was told, that's like, he's not told.
Okay.
You said it was illegal. You told me it was illegal.
That's what I understood.
You gonna.
Maybe I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. Y'all wanna move it to the next
You don't
meeting?
know.
Move it, let's move it, we'll vote on it, let's vote it down, let's vote it down.
Let's go.
Okay.
Whatever we gotta do with this end.
Mr. Chairman,
Ask you to, yes, sir.
I want also, that boat launch project has got the money to blacktop that road that goes to the boat launch. It's not part of this road project, but we want to make sure it's in that
The boat
project.
That road going to
It's gonna be added to the project, but it'll be identified as separate money from the boat launch.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't wanna forget, I don't want it to be slipped out.
Did you tell him?
Well,
You gonna make her
I
add?
want the jury to make sure that she knows that that's gonna be part of the project, but it's funded from the boat.
Boat launch on that,
Right,
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 from the road project.
That's right. Because it costs us a fortune to remobilize everything.
Yeah.
Just do that.
There you go.
So go ahead and get that done and bring it back to us the next couple of meetings, wherever you can get it done and everything.
Darryl, we need to put that on the voting meeting to approve for her to.
Yeah.
Yeah, authorize get the
On the road that
Kira
we
project
have on-
engineer for
the road
Clay
that
Brook
we have.
project.
All right, we'll move it forward. Number 8, temporary food services, food truck. I'll put that on there because I have a few calls from different people about food trucks, since the Venture Global's coming in and lack of place to eat. I know we have an ordinance, Miles got it all what we need, and I don't know if anybody's here to talk on it or wanted one, but, just in case you wanted to, have anybody want to speak about it?
I had one of our local businesses in Grand Lake that requested me to see if she would be real interested in having a food truck. She owns a business down at Abears and, at the marina. And she was contacted, I think, by, some people, Venture or somebody. I'm not gonna say it's Venture, it was somebody.
Yeah.
And they was interested in trying to set something up with her, and she's like, you know, it's hard for her to cook in Grand Lake and try to get hot food down to Cameron when they need it. Saying she was real interested in a food truck thing too, and I didn't know exactly where we was with that.
I think Miles has all the ordinances and
He's got it all.
everything that,
It comes up every year, it looks like, so normally in the spring, it always comes up for Holly Beach, somebody's always wanting to do a food truck. We've never had one since I've been here for 28 years, the jury always had it, but anyway, it's only, when you do it, when you adopt it, you had to recognize fairs and festivals as an approved way to do it in the ordinance of the state, DHH. So y'all did that back in the day, way back, and then can only be, right now, it only be done during these festivals or fairs, where it is for non-for-profit. It's temporary non-for-profit, like you got the Fur Festival and stuff like that. Not-for-profit, there's no limit set, it don't say, Fur Festival gets this amount, and they make this amount, so it's non-for-profit. There is some other things in there, that's not mentioned when you talk to the state. The state, I know you're talking about Grand Lake, Rita Fields, if she would bring a food truck down here for Cameron, set it up, it's gotta be connected to a commissary we discussed last year, which is a business or a restaurant. That unit with the DHH can come, set up on a piece of property, sell the food, do whatever they wanna do. In the evenings, that they can't stay there. It's gotta go back to the commissary, place of business, clean up, disinfect, do whatever they gotta do, put fresh water, this and that, but that's through DHH. It's not my ordinance, it's always been a jury ordinance. I don't know other businesses in the parish, y'all gotta consider this, you got T-Bars in Creole, you got 2 Canic stores, you got Anchors up here in Cameron. She's wanting to add on, but she's got some regulations she's got to follow. Got another restaurant across the street. This is just for y'all. We've did 2 big expansions in the parish. You built the 2 LNGs on that side with no food trucks. That's the original build, then you did the expansions at each one, no food trucks. So I'll go either way. If y'all, let's see, y'all's ordinance, I'm just trying to explain a little bit.
Yeah, and I understand that, but the thing to me is that when some of our local businesses come and say, we would like to have a food truck down there because we're located in Grand Lake, and it's just impractical for us to get down to Cameron with hot food cooked in Grand Lake. We need our truck down there.
Now, there's nothing stopping.
It should be done, we should try to help our local businesses
Let me go
accomplish
back
that,
there.
but you may open a bigger set.
There's no regulations for it to be cooked in Lake Charles and put it in a van and drive it straight into the plant and they can sell like that. There's no regulations on that. It was brought up last year before, is only for Cameron Parish residents. Ms. Jones was in here and said that's totally illegal, you can't do it. If you open it up, you don't have food. I had one from New Orleans call me 3 years ago when Venture first, he said, Miles, I could have you 4 different types of food trucks there tomorrow morning. And I'll connect it to a commissary in Lake Charles if I got to. So it's
One in Austin, Texas too.
Well,
Texas.
How is it gonna take place? I'd just like to ask Venture, how are they gonna feed all their people out at that place?
Well,
Been doing it
Cameron LNG, they buy the lunch every day, lunch, and all
The
that.
Venture does not want a food truck on their property for a year. I called Jessica yesterday, asked her about that. On their property, they don't want it because they said they're gonna pick out 20 minutes to get in line and they'll get 30 minutes to eat. So they don't want that.
They're gonna bring the lunch like they did at Cameron
The
LNG.
The businesses here in Cameron are doing good right now.
We have a meeting on this.
Why would you, it was brought up to me and I just.
Uh-huh.
We had a meeting on this.
Mr. Chairman, can I, we've got a local restaurant on right back here. You want to come give us your opinion on this? Please, sir?
I just come to see, I guess.
Come to the mic, brother.
I think he called one of y'all, he said, I asked him earlier if he wanted to call.
Well,
Well, while he's walking,
If you open it,
we had a meeting about food trucks. And somebody
You opened it
called
up.
and said, I can bring you 300 down here tomorrow. And that's when said, no food truck. We've done
I
that.
need to remember that if there's any proper building to be made here, we should consider our local.
That's what I was trying to do.
Always, listen to me, we have an ordinance that protects it right now, we can leave it in place.
Yeah, so that,
Remember to, if it supports our local business, I'm for it, if it doesn't.
the Chenier only had Ajax and Browns and Hanger.
Yeah, and they have got a little bit, but
But that, go ahead, Ryan.
My personal preference on that is to keep it as is. I mean, if somebody wants to haul in from Grand Lake and, deliver lunches, I don't think Grand Lake's too far.
Can you legally do that? Can you provide lunches and truck them in?
I think as long as it's cooked in an approved kitchen by DHA, I mean, you can go to walk-ons. I've done been to banquets, walk-ons come from Baton Rouge with food and delivered it to the first Coliseum. So yeah, as long as you have it cooked in an approved DHA kitchen, you can take it and all it. I was in Chenier, one day doing something for an inspection. A van drove to the double wide, all the 16-plex trailers. People filed out, she opened the door, here's your sack lunch. And she took one collector money and give them their sack lunch. So that's legal, as far as I know.
You did that for BB also, did you think plate lunches, they pick them up and from you and?
Yes, sir.
So maybe that's an avenue.
Well, I understand the ordinance allows it.
yeah, just a second. We talk about food trucks specifically here.
yeah.
Now, there are catering laws, and there are a lot of people that cater, like Monica who cater to the Chenier, still do. But that kind of.
That's not, that catering is you drive to the facility and you set up a tent or do whatever. That's a private.
Here's what they don't do, they don't sell it individually, they order the whole food and they.
That's a different ballgame.
It's a whole different ballgame, so we don't confuse those two.
No, we're
Phillips
talking-
66 in Lake Charles, they got 3 vehicles coming, a big Suburban, they got hot boxes, they back up to the swing stall, and the guys chucking, want to get a plate of lunch, they go eat. They're outside the gate.
And that's something you would like to see stay?
I like to see it stay as is. I work
Yeah, the
for
ordinance
Cameron LNG and
Yeah.
they come in caterers, kind of like you talking about.
But if you open it up to everybody in the country, everybody comes down.
There you go.
And that's the only thing about the food truck, if you let one, you gotta let.
They only got 30 minutes to eat.
Yeah.
But that's good, I just, like I said, I wanted to have a few phone calls here and there, people was,
Thanks, Ronnie.
that they wanted to discuss it, so we're gonna sit tight on the ordinance and go from there. Everybody good with that? All right, let's move on to number 9, variance request from Kiwi Construction, maintenance building, Mr. Miles.
Yes, sir, this is, Kiewit, of course, is the contractor for, Venture Global. They're needing to construct it, and this is, they're asking for a variance from the flood damage prevention for elevation, okay? And it's, they constructed it's not even a warehouse, it's a maintenance shop. They need to construct it for bringing the dozers in, the heavy equipment. They need it below base flood elevation. You can't put a dozer in the air that weighs however many. But anyway, it will be at one of the docks. They're using all the docks down here. Baker Hughes site on Davis Road. The requirement there is 15 foot. The ground is, anyway, they're asking for like a 9-foot variance to be below. They know they got to install the vents. This type of variance is recognized by FEMA as functionally dependent use. We did more for PHA helicopter.
I got where FEMA approved that one. This one is even, they would approve it even more because it's at a marine facility for loading and offloading vessels. So we have no problem with FEMA, they on board with it.
They still gotta build it to the wind code?
They gotta meet, yeah, they gotta still meet wind codes, they gotta put their
Actually a
budget.
metal building, or is it gonna be one of them like they do with that crane company in Lake Charles? One of the big tall buildings that withstands a bunch of wind and all that, so they can bring that equipment in there, no concrete.
Yeah, they gotta pour a new concrete slab, they gotta pour and then build a new metal
So they're
structure.
gonna do all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's gonna be,
5,500.
when they through with it, it comes out.
Well, it's an improvements to the dock facility that they're
It's gonna be
renting,
to the
so it's
facility.
probably gonna stay at the facility.
So it's a permanent facility.
It's permanent, it's gonna be permanent,
Okay.
bolted, attached.
Any office space inside there?
No, sir, open.
Just the
It's-
mechanics.
Yeah.
No running water, no restrooms.
I think they're, on site, they're gonna have they already got a building there that's elevated, they could use it in an office. And they're gonna be putting, modular trailers at these docks.
No sleeping quarters,
No sleeping quarters, that's not allowed by the state fire marshal's office.
All right, it's on the vote meeting?
Yes, it's on the voting menu already, and you'll get signed at today, right?
All right, let's, review the agenda.
John's gonna stay on there, Daryl? He wants to stay with the, for a representative on that Lake Charles board?
Yes.
John Law.
Clear.
Yes, sir. If that is what you choose to support, yes.
Okay.
No, just to review any add-ons with the new pot, it would be to authorize staff to approve a professional service contract with Trans Systems for build grant application, and to authorize the enter contract with the project engineer for Parish Road project.
Okay.
We have somebody here to talk, I think there's somebody here in position for a stop sign, is that what that needs to be now?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes.
Spot.
Yes, sir.
When,
Wow, really short. Good morning, my name is Joella Bott. I live at Holly Beach, I'm a current resident there, I'm building my home there. I've been in Holly Beach for 6 years. And it's so interesting to listen to so many important topics today, but I'm here to ask to save a life. On the corner of Teal and Porpoise, there are 2 stop signs. I'm trying to get it as a 4-way stop. With the increase of people coming into our parish, from, building homes or, current businesses, oil and gas, which I'm in, I've been in for 30 years. They're coming through Holly Beach really fast. It's 50 miles an hour on the corner of Teal and Porpoise. And I feed most of the police, by the way, because there is no place to eat in Holly Beach. But they'll sit there sometimes and have to stop them because, they're gonna kill a kid. And in the summertime, we all have grandkids, and the kids run from the beach, they run across the street. I put a cone, which I don't know if it's legal or illegal, but I don't care. They run over my cone coming through. So I'm here to plead with you today to put a four-way stop to prevent a death. So, thank you very much.
I mean, is that something we do? We gotta go through the state for that?
No, sir. It would be us, sir. Yes, sir.
You take care of that?
Yes,
Is it
sir.
something that we need to vote on?
No, sir.
Okay, so we don't need to add it to the agenda. Okay, good.
No.
Could you check on it?
I can strap them to the top of my Jeep and haul them back to Holly Beach.
Any issues you might want to ask, any questions about this?
I invite you to come and sit at my bar outside if you'd like to see what I'm talking about, in your regular street clothes.
Anybody that's familiar with Hollow Beach, if I'm correct, it's the main road that runs through from where Thibodeau's used to be.
Yes, sir.
To the S curve. People do always notoriously drive that fast. So I think it's a reasonable request. I'd like to see it done.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, where are we at with that speed limit change on that road?
It's advertised.
Yeah, you kind of mind all
It's,
that.
it's right, it's
Yeah, me
advertised.
too.
It should be on the next agenda.
Oh, it's on the.
Yeah, we have to run it, we have to run so many days. You know, advertising, and it'll be on the agenda for y'all to approve, probably next meeting.
Next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I was asking.
It just,
I just didn't.
when that time between last meeting and this meeting.
Before we go, Claire, you wanna make that announcement, what you told me before the meeting? Where we're at with Cameron Fisheries? I mean, it sounded good.
The advertisement came out today. Do I need to be the mic?
Yes, please.
Thanks, Mr. Quinn. The advertisement came out today in the Cameron pilot for the new operator for the fisheries facility located at 326A/B Marshall Street. Previously, we referred to it as the Cameron Fisheries Facility. It'll run this Thursday and next Thursday with a 30-day deadline. If anyone who's interested has questions about the request for proposals, those need to be submitted to me by April 17th, which is about the halfway mark into that 30 days. So Daryl and I and staff are working together to get this operator in place as soon as we possibly can, so that we can get that facility operational.
Good deal. Good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good deal. So that's. Yeah, but that's just somebody just.
Correct.
Are we contacting any other, distributor or like, there's other people that do this type of stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, we're in contact with some people that try to
Along
help.
the Gulf
But the
Coast.
proposal is to get an operator in, that's what Claire's working on, that's the board, responsibility. And we've been talking to a consultant, you know, who has done seafood processing to help us finish this building. And
No, I'm talking about attracting the new person that's gonna run the
I
place.
think
That's
what Claire's
correct.
working
So
on.
what we've done, I've tried to cast as big a net, no pun intended, as possible into South Texas. You can hear me, Lee?
Yeah,
Okay. And all the way into ports as far away as Bayou La Battery.
that's what I was asking. We're not just putting it in the Cameron Pilot, we are contacting other.
So it's published in the Cameron Parish Pilot because that's our local journal of record. However, I have contacted operators along the Texas coast, Louisiana coast, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. We're also working with LSU Ag, Kevin Savoy's here. We've talked about the network that he has access to and providing this request for proposals to all of those folks as well. So we've already been dealing with people in Vermilion Bay, Delcom area, Texas coastline as well, so.
Mark might have been even next to that, sound like that's gonna fit.
His name has come up.
Yeah, Claire's been talking to people for the last couple of months, ever since this thing happened.
It's not me, it's all of us together. We're gonna get an operator
Oh,
there.
yeah, I mean, we're trying to get all the equipment in place and just trying to find an operator. That's what we're working on.
The deadline to submit a proposal is May 6th, which is a Monday. So it'll run in the Cameron Pilot today, next Thursday. So it'll run twice. giving people until May 6th at noon to submit their proposals to the port. And there will be an ad hoc committee that was designated several years ago on the port. Tim DuPont, Howard Romero, Dwight Savoy, that will score and rank those proposals. And they'll have the option to interview the top 3 respondents and then make a decision and announce it and start negotiating a contract with the operator, similar to the one that was in place with the previous operator. It'll be a public and open process though, so if anybody has any questions, we're happy to answer any questions.
Open the place up.
All right, any other questions on the agenda?
They were good with those 2 add-ons, Mr. DuPont, that I mentioned earlier. Other than that, we're good.
All right, meeting adjourned.